Have you ever felt an itch that just wouldn't go away, on your legs, your back, or even your scalp, and wondered if your body was trying to tell you something? For many people over 60, these small sensations can feel like nothing at first. But as we age, our body begins to whisper in quiet ways, and sometimes that whisper is a sign. In this video, we'll explore 4 common itchy spots that could reveal much more than dry skin. You'll meet real people, like Dennis, who thought it was just the weather, and Janice, who changed her soap 3 times before learning the truth. If you've been feeling confused or even worried about these little symptoms, you're not alone. We're here to guide you gently, with clarity, care, and practical steps you can take starting today. So stay with us, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone you love, because small signals matter, and understanding them could change everything. Let's start with a part of the body most people tend to overlook until it starts to itch, ache, or tingle: the legs. More specifically, the lower legs, the calves, shins, and ankles. And for older adults, this is often the very first place the body speaks up when something inside begins to slow down. It always puzzled me why Mr. Howard, my neighbor from across the street, wore thick wool socks, even during the peak of summer. At first, I thought it was just his way, maybe a habit, maybe comfort. But one day, as we chatted during our morning routines, he watering his roses, me walking my dog, I asked him, half joking, "Don't your feet get hot in there?" He gave a tired smile and said, "They itch more when I don't." It was later that I learned what he was really going through. That quiet discomfort he carried turned out to be poor circulation, a result of aging veins and a slower moving life after retirement. What began as a small itch on his calves eventually signaled something far more serious: peripheral artery disease. Have you ever noticed that persistent itch on your lower legs, especially around your ankles or shins, that just won't go away, no matter how much lotion you use? Maybe you've blamed it on dry weather or thought it was just part of getting older. But what if your body is trying to tell you something more important? After the age of 60, our circulation naturally becomes less efficient. The veins in our legs, the ones that once pumped blood back up with ease, start to weaken. If you sit for long periods or don't move around much anymore, blood can begin to pool in your lower limbs. That can dry out the skin, make your legs feel heavy, and yes, cause a chronic itch that seems to creep up mostly at night or after sitting too long. The truth is, this isn't just about comfort. It's about your heart. Poor circulation in the legs is one of the earliest signs of peripheral artery disease, a condition where blood vessels become narrowed, reducing the flow of oxygen and nutrients to your limbs. Over time, this can lead to blood clots, ulcers, and increased strain on your heart. I've seen it happen, and too often it begins with a small, unassuming itch that's ignored until it becomes something far harder to reverse. And yet, there's hope, because once you understand the signal, you can start to respond. Gentle movement throughout the day is a powerful antidote. You don't need to power walk or go to the gym. Just walking around your living room every hour or taking a few laps in your backyard can help. When you sit, elevate your legs to reduce swelling. Keep them hydrated with unscented lotion, because scented ones may irritate the skin more. If your doctor agrees, consider compression socks and cut back on salty foods, which only make the swelling worse. These changes may seem small, but I've seen them work wonders. I remember when Mr. Howard began walking slowly with his cane in the mornings. At first it was just to the mailbox, then it was around the block. By the end of the month, he no longer needed to wear those wool socks. In July, he said the itching had faded, and so had the heaviness in his legs. Sometimes the smallest steps we take bring the biggest relief. If you're still watching, comment 1 below and let me know. Do you feel that itch in your legs too? You're not alone. And more importantly, you're not helpless. Your body is wise. It speaks to you, not in shouts, but in whispers. And your legs might just be whispering for care. So let's listen to them gently, before they have to cry out louder. Next, let's move a little higher, to the front of the body. Your chest and abdomen may not seem like places you'd associate with itching, but for many older adults, this region quietly holds another story. because when your skin starts to itch here, without a rash, without irritation, the cause may not be outside your body at all. It might be coming from deep within, from what your body isn't getting enough of. Have you ever found yourself skipping meals, not out of choice, but because food just doesn't feel inviting anymore? Perhaps you open the fridge and close it again, thinking a cup of tea or a handful of crackers will do. Maybe you've even told yourself, I don't need much these days, without realizing how quietly your appetite has been fading. As we age, it's common for our desire to eat to slow down, but what many don't realize is how that small change can quietly ripple through the rest of the body, sometimes showing up as something as simple yet persistent as an itch on the chest or belly. I remember my friend Elaine, who lost her husband just after turning 74. Grief changed many things in her life, but one shift was particularly subtle. She stopped cooking. The kitchen that had once been filled with the scent of simmering soups and roasted vegetables became quiet. Slowly, she began skipping meals. She told me that chewing felt like a chore, and most days she'd settle for a aki, few crackers or canned soup. What started as a matter of convenience soon became habit, and then came the itching. It began around her stomach, especially in the evenings. At first, she thought it was her body wash. Then she changed her laundry detergent. She even switched to cotton tops, hoping the fabric would soothe it, but nothing changed. The truth is, after the age of 60, our digestive system doesn't absorb nutrients the way it used to. Our stomach acid decreases, and the enzymes that help break down food become less active. Add in medications like blood pressure pills, antacids, or statins, and the problem compounds. Over time, this leads to deficiencies in critical nutrients: vitamin B12, zinc, omega-3s, and vitamin D. These aren't just vitamins, they're the silent helpers that repair our skin, fuel our nerves, and calm inflammation. Without them, skin becomes drier and more sensitive. Wounds take longer to heal and the immune system starts to falter. In some cases, it begins with a gentle itch across the belly or chest, but left unchecked, it can turn into something far more draining: brain fog, exhaustion, a weakened body. The good news is that these effects can be reversed, and the solution isn't complicated. For Elaine, it started with adding one small bowl of yogurt to her morning. Then she tried blending fruits into smoothies, adding a spoonful of flaxseed for omega-3s. She began keeping hard-boiled eggs in the fridge for quick snacks. Nothing extreme, just small, nourishing moments that her body could recognize and use. She also talked to her doctor, who ran a simple blood panel and confirmed she was low in B12 and vitamin D. A daily multivitamin and a little sunshine became part of her new rhythm. And gradually the itch faded. More importantly, her energy returned. She even began taking walks again, not because someone told her to, but because she wanted to. If this story resonates with you, comment 2 below and let me know. Have you been noticing an itch across your chest or belly lately? Or perhaps you've been eating less than you used to? If so, you're not alone. There is no shame in needing less food, but there is wisdom in making what you do eat truly count. Your body, even now, is fighting for you. And nourishment isn't about big meals or fancy recipes. It's about giving your cells the tools they need to help you heal, focus, and live with strength. You may not feel hungry, but your cells still need nourishment to fight, heal, and think. Next, we turn to a place that holds more tension than most people realize: the scalp and the back of the neck. For many older adults, persistent itchiness in this area isn't caused by shampoo, dryness, or detergent. It's not something on your skin, it's something beneath it. Because sometimes what we feel on the surface is simply the nervous system trying to speak through the only language it knows: sensation. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, your fingers slowly moving through your hair or scratching the back of your neck, wondering why you're so restless when the room is silent and the lights are off? Maybe you dismissed it as just dry skin or a pillow that needs replacing. But then another night comes and the itch returns, quiet but persistent. And somewhere deep down, you realize it's been days since you spoke to someone face to face, since you laughed out loud or felt the warmth of a hug. That's when the truth begins to surface, not in your mind but through your skin. I remember one evening when I sat alone at the kitchen table long after dinner, scratching absent-mindedly at my scalp. There was no rash, no flakes, just a sensation that something wasn't right. I had gone nearly a week without a visitor. My children lived in another state. The phone hadn't rung and I had barely stepped outside. The silence of the house had grown thick, and while I had chalked the itch up to aging skin, the deeper cause was something else. Stress I hadn't named, emotions I hadn't released, and a nervous system that had carried too much tension for too long. You see, the scalp and the neck are among the most sensitive areas of the body. They hold more nerve endings than we realize, and when we are emotionally strained, especially in ways we can't quite articulate, those nerves respond. After 60, our nervous system changes. It doesn't rebound as quickly. Our stress response stays on longer, and the line between emotional tension and physical symptoms becomes thinner. For many retirees, widows, or caregivers, this silent stress builds up gradually through unspoken grief, loneliness, and a sense of disconnection, and it often finds its first outlet through the skin. Unlike typical skin conditions, this kind of itch doesn't come with redness or flakiness. You won't see a rash or a mark. That's what makes it confusing. It feels physical, but it's deeply tied to emotion. This itch is your nervous system's quiet tap on the shoulder, a call to reconnect, to breathe, to release. If left ignored, it can evolve into anxiety, fatigue, or even the early stages of cognitive slowdown. That's why we must pay attention when the body speaks in whispers like this. What helped me was surprisingly simple. I began starting each morning with a slow breath, inhaling for 4 seconds, exhaling for 6. I made it a ritual, like brewing coffee. I called an old friend on Tuesdays, joined a virtual book group on Thursdays, and made it a rule to sit in the sun for at least 10 minutes a day. I stopped watching the evening news, replacing it with calming music. I also stretched, just a few shoulder rolls and gentle neck tilts in the quiet of my room. Over time, the itching eased, but more importantly, so did the ache of being emotionally overwhelmed. If you've reached this point, comment 3 below to let me know. And tell me, have you been feeling this type of itch lately? Or maybe you've noticed your shoulders staying tense longer than usual. You're not alone, truly. And the good news is, you don't need to change your whole life. You only need to offer your body small moments of release, of presence, of peace. Because your nervous system can only hold so much. Sometimes it speaks through your skin. All it asks is that you listen. And finally, we arrive at a place that's hard to see and easy to ignore, the upper and mid-back. It's an area most people only notice when it aches or itches in the middle of the night. But in older adults, an unexplained itch here can carry a deeper meaning, because this is often the skin's quiet signal that the organs working hardest behind the scenes, your liver and kidneys, may be under more stress than you think. Have you ever found yourself reaching around to scratch the middle of your back over and over, wondering why it keeps coming back, even though there's nothing there? No rash, no irritation, just that steady, stubborn itch that always seems worse at night. It may feel like nothing, something easy to dismiss, but for many older adults that exact sensation is a quiet signal from the inside out, one that deserves more attention than it usually gets. I still remember Doris from bingo night. She always sat 2 rows behind me and had the kind of laugh that made everyone feel welcome. But for weeks I noticed she would shift in her seat, reach behind her shoulder blades, or ask the woman next to her if she could scratch just a bit lower. At first, we all thought she was just reacting to her detergent or maybe her cardigan, but the itch didn't go away. It followed her from afternoon to evening, and eventually, it started to disturb her sleep. When she finally mentioned it to her doctor, they ran a few blood tests and discovered her kidneys were under strain. The reason? A buildup of toxins, quietly accumulating from the many medications she had been taking for years. You see, our liver and kidneys are like filters. Every pill, every processed food, even some vitamins must pass through them. But as we age, and as we take more medications, that filtering system begins to slow. When the liver or kidneys can't keep up, waste products begin to build up in the blood. That waste irritates the nerves under the skin, especially in the upper or mid-back, where many of these nerve endings cluster. And this can result in what doctors call uremic pruritus or cholestatic itch. It's not the same as eczema or dry skin. There's no redness, no flakes. Just an invisible irritation that can wear down your energy, interrupt your sleep, and signal something much deeper is going on. The most difficult part is that this kind of itch is often brushed off, even by those who experience it. It's so easy to blame clothing, aging skin, or even the chair you sit in. But if the itch continues, especially at night, and nothing topical seems to help, it might be time to look inward, literally, because kidney and liver strain are conditions that often progress silently. They don't always cause pain, but they do cause changes. And your skin may be the first place those changes show up. What helped Doris was refreshingly simple. Her doctor adjusted her medications, replacing one pain pill with a gentler alternative and cutting back on her salt intake. She also started drinking warm water with lemon every morning, not as a miracle cure, but to gently support her body's natural detox. They added a few gentle foods to her routine, steamed greens, berries, Land-S packaged meals, and monitored her blood levels every few months. Within a few weeks, the itching began to fade, not all at once, but gradually. She told me one evening, "It's like my skin finally stopped yelling at me." If you've made it here, comment 4 below and share. Have you been dealing with an unexplained back itch too? You're not imagining it, and you're not alone. So many of us carry the quiet side effects of the medications and habits we've come to rely on. But it's never too late to check in with your body, to ask the right questions, and to make small healing choices. If your back is quietly burning, your organs might be loudly struggling. Listen early, and you just might give them the strength to carry you further. When we're young, the body speaks clearly, pain, fever, tension. But as we grow older, our language changes. It begins to whisper. A light itch on your lower leg, a dry patch on your belly, a tingling scalp, or an invisible burn in your back. These aren't random. They're your body's quiet way of asking for your attention. As we've seen today, each itchy area tells a different story. Poor circulation may start in your legs. Your belly could be calling out for the nutrition it's no longer receiving. Your scalp might be echoing the loneliness or stress that's been tucked away. And your back may be quietly revealing a buildup that your kidneys or liver can no longer handle alone. The important thing is not to panic, but to listen. These aren't signs of failure, they're invitations to care. And the changes you can make don't have to be big or expensive. A 10-minute walk, a glass of water with lemon, a phone call to a friend, or a handful of walnuts can begin to restore the balance your body needs. So take a moment, reflect. Has your body been trying to tell you something lately? If this video resonated with you, I invite you to share your story in the comments. Which itchy area spoke to your experience? What have you tried that helped or didn't? Your insight could help someone else find relief too. And if you feel well now, even better. Now you know what to look for. Because in the quiet signals of our skin, there are powerful lessons. When we understand them, we don't just live longer. We live wiser, stronger, and more present, day by day, moment by moment.